this is Country Carrie. It's really cold outside, so I thought today would be a great time to make soup. And so I'm getting ready to make some New England Clam Chowder. But before I do, I want to tell you a little bit about stock soup. So I've made soup a few times since Christmas. In fact, I have this fun little soup bowl for my friend Shelley, and there's other kinds of soup bowls that you can use and enjoy. The kind that I've used, the kind of soup that I made at Thanksgiving time was obviously a turkey vegetable soup. And then at Christmas time, I made a bean and vegetable ham soup. So what I do is I'll take the carcass from the animal and boil it to get the marrow out. Now I have a bone right here, a ham bone. I have a beef bone right here that I want to show you that has marrow in it. And that marrow is so good for our bodies. It's full of nutrients. And so by cooking the bones down, you get a wonderful tasting broth and you get the nutrients. One way that you can tell that if you got the marrow from the bones is it will gellify, it will solidify into gel, kind of a gel when it's cold. So there are those type of soups that I like to make that's out of a stock, which is out of a bone. I've also mentioned about making, when I cut up a whole chicken, making some chicken soup. And so that's just one type of soup. Another type of soup that we're going to do today is a cream soup. Now, cream soups are a little bit higher in calories, but they're sure tasty. And the one soup, like I mentioned, we're going to make today is the New England Clam Chowder. The recipe I'm using is from an old 1975 cookbook I have called Bread and Soup. My friend Peg and Russ gave that to me years ago. So what you first do is you take your 2 tablespoons of butter and put them in your pan. Now I'm using my Blanche pan, and it works great as a soup pan as well. So I'm heating up my butter, and then I'm going to add my so I have 2 tablespoons of butter, and I'm going to add half a cup of finely diced celery and another half a cup of minced onion. And then something that you don't really think that would be in here, it also calls for 1/4 of a cup of minced green pepper. And so I'm going to put those in my pot to start cooking. After my butter melts and after they cook for just a few minutes, I will add 3 tablespoons of flour to that mix. And that's going to help it so that when I add my milk and cream mixture, it will help thicken it. And so it's easier to open up a can of something, but it sure tastes a lot better when you're making things from scratch. Besides that, you know exactly what you're getting, which is a good part. While I'm heating that up, I'm going to tell you about the country vegetable soup that I make in the fall. I actually use a beef bone to get my beef broth, and then items from the garden, and it makes a wonderful country vegetable soup that you know what's inside of it. You can bottle it, put it on your shelf, and then when you're ready for some soup, you can open it up. If you want to add some meat to it, you can, or just a little seasoning to taste, and it's a wonderful soup to have on hand. So I had some cream in the fridge. I had made some pies and we had whipped cream with it, and I had an extra cup of cream. So I had that ready to add in as well. So you need to get your 1 cup of cream ready, 1 3/4 cups of milk. Now if you like whole milk, you can use that. If you're trying to rotate your milk that's on your food storage shelf, you can use that. I like Gosner's milk, which is in a carton, and so that's what this is today. But you can even mix up some powdered milk if you're trying to rotate your food storage and use some of that. The benefit of cooking my celery, onions, and green peppers now is it cooks them and helps them get softer, and so that it's easier to eat. Looks like it's ready for my flour. So then inside my pot, I'm going to add 3 tablespoons of flour. Stir it in. Let it heat up just a little bit. So in my pot, I have my 2 tablespoons of butter, my 1/2 cup of finely diced celery, my 1/2 cup of minced onion, my 1/4 cup of green pepper, and my 3 tablespoons of flour. So I'm going to add now my 1 cup of whipping cream, or you can use 1/2 and 1/2 if you have that, and my 1 3/4 cup of milk. And I'm just going to add these slowly while I stir. My heat is on medium. I don't want it too hot. I don't want to scorch it. And milk and cream both will scorch easily, so make sure and watch your heat. Okay, next it says, cook it, let it boil. So I'm going to turn it up to medium-high and let it cook 1 to 2 minutes. One of the things I like about making clam chowder is it also helps you rotate your canned meats that you have on your food storage shelf. I know our family really likes clam dip, but clam chowder is another way to use up those clams and rotate them. Okay, while that's cooking, I'm going to tell you what I'm going to add the rest of. So it tells you to open up your clams and drain your juice. So inside my container here, I have the clam juice, and I also added the 1/2 teaspoon of salt, the 1/8 teaspoon of thyme, which was fun. Time to use the thyme that I grew in my garden. And another funny ingredient that you wouldn't think of, but 3 drops of Tabasco. And so after this mixture cooks for 1 to 2 minutes, I will add this liquid mixture to it. And so you don't have to wait till that heats up. I'm going to tell you the rest of the recipe. So then, after it gets to a boiling, then you stir in your potato, which I have some minced chopped up potato here, a half a cup of potato, which is finely diced, because if you don't dice it fine, then it's going to take a long time to cook. So you want to make sure and do that. One tip is if you're getting all your stuff ready, and if you dice up your potato ahead of time, you can actually just put some water on top of it, and that will help it keep from getting brown. And then you're going to simmer it for 25 to 35 minutes. And at the very end, you're going to add in your clams, 2 cans of clams. And another interesting ingredient is a half a teaspoon of Worcestershire sauce. And that will, oh, there, start to boil. Great. I'll watch the clock. And then after you add the clams and the Worcestershire sauce, you just heat it up a little bit to get the clam meat warm. And then you're able to pour it in your bowls and put a little cheese, grated cheese on it, or a little bit of parsley to garnish it and serve. Now the recipe I'm telling you about is good for about 2 people. When you're serving it for more than that, just double the recipe. Yeah, this is looking wonderful. It's going to be fabulous. So we hope that you've enjoyed making soup with me today, and we're going to enjoy having it here in about a half an hour. And remember, country is caring and sharing. And I hope by sharing these tips on making soup, it will help you when you're making yours. Enjoy.